Hello, my name is Alan Hackler, owner of Bay Maples. We're here in downtown San Jose at a garden we installed last summer and fall. And we'd love to show you how we turn this thirsty front and backyard lawn into a sustainable oasis. What the client wanted to achieve was incorporating native plants, but doing it in an artistic and aesthetically pleasing way. What we did was incorporate some large boulders as focal points. You might notice in a lot of our gardens the use of manzanitas, penstemons, bunch grasses, some salvias and some sages, all very low care, low water, have long bloom cycles, give you seasonal color. Our goal here was to create a naturalistic look, but not feel too wild, but still keep a very attractive looking front yard. So I'm standing next to this stormwater swale in the front yard, also called a dry creek or bioretention swale. The goal of this is to catch water coming off the downspout and keep the water on site versus letting the water flow down the sidewalk into the gutter and then running off into waterways. So by creating this swale, we're sort of recharging the aquifer on site, keeping the roots of the plants happy in the dry season, and overall just better management of water on site. This is one of my favorite garden motifs, incorporating a Sonoma fieldstone boulder with this beautiful lichen and moss next to a specimen manzanita. We select these Sonoma fieldstone boulders, which are usually found when they clear land for farmland. And it's their way of using a local material. And it's just very reminiscent of a scene you'd see in California up on the foothills or along one of your favorite hikes. You just get this beautiful color and texture of the moss and lichen next to the beautiful bark of a manzanita, and it just really creates a really welcoming effect that I really love to use. So one of our techniques for cutting down on water use is the use of a subsurface drip irrigation. This has what they call an inline drip emitter. We have the emitter embedded right in this half-inch pipe, and it's covered up by mulch. Utilizing this technique, you can utilize the least amount of water while still keeping the plants happy and thriving. Here we are in the backyard, and one of the fun parts of this project was during the design phase, the clients gave us a lot of creative freedom. Their main goals were to incorporate native and edible plants, to have an entertaining area for their family and friends, and make a colorful backyard with seasonal interest. So the main focal point of the backyard was this center entertaining area. They wanted to have a spot where they could incorporate a large communal table and some seating and some benching, and also some raised beds. And so a fun thing we were able to do was build this raised bed out of old fence boards and a salvaged redwood slab that we milled locally here, and incorporated this into this really cool, fun seating area that also allows you to garden and also creates a lot of color and textures with this reused material. So inside these raised beds, we're able to incorporate some edible plants, some different leafy greens, also include on the perimeter some larger herbs, some native, some pollinators, some edible vines, some fruit trees, and really created a beautiful space, also maximizing their ability to eat from the garden, attract pollinators, and really just create a very welcoming space. The homeowners are both educators. They love to read every morning, and we created this little reading nook in the back here. They were able to add their own little touch with buying some very colorful seat cushions, and just really adds a fun little touch to the garden, some color, and incorporates their own style and interest into the garden. Here we are in the back corner of the garden, and one of the design challenges was to how do we cover this wall? They're adjacent to a restaurant next door. One of the solutions we came up with was to plant this flowering passion vine, and we installed these stainless steel wires, and the goal is over time the passion vine will slowly grow up the wires and sort of soften the look of the stucco wall. We also incorporated some trellises in these raised beds to kind of grow up the wall, creating some vertical space, which not only increases your growing capabilities, but also hides the stucco wall and kind of softens the look a little bit. So one of our techniques to reduce the overall water consumption of the garden is to utilize a greywater system. And in this case, we use the greywater from the laundry machine, and come check out how we incorporate that into the project. So here we're in the garage, and this may look like your typical configuration of your laundry and dryer machine. And what we did was install this three-way valve. And what this allows you to do is switch back and forth from your sewer to your new gray water connection. So in the case of using any bleach or any of the caustic washing products, you can simply switch back to your sewer or switch to your gray water system during a typical load. Whenever you're installing a lawn landscape system, an important consideration is the type of soap you're using. You always want to make sure you're using a biocompatible soap. And how this differs from a biodegradable soap is not only will it break down in your soil like a biodegradable soap will, a biocompatible soap will actually benefit your soil and add to your soil biology. So now we're on the exterior of the garage. The washing machine is just on the other side of this wall. And here was the other side of the pipe there we were looking at. And this is the exit line of the gray water system. It comes out of the wall, goes down, goes underneath the mulch, and it irrigates this newly planted fruit tree orchard, which we're just getting established. And you may notice these purple little caps right here. And what these are mulch basin outlets. And that is a fancy term for basically a small little leach field. And underneath each one of these caps is a small 1/2-inch outlet. The purple is to designate that this is for a gray water system. Also here we have the purple cap right here. The gray water outlets out of this pipe and slowly percolates around the base of each tree, allowing the roots of the tree to soak up and absorb that water and keep the tree happy and thriving. So an added benefit to this is not only are you saving water, but you can also apply for a rebate through your local water municipality. In this instance, they got this through the Santa Clara Valley Water District, and they were able to receive a $200 rebate. So during the design process, we had some very fun and receptive clients to work with, and they were open to any possibilities and ideas of how they could save water and create a beautiful garden. And during an initial walkthrough, we were just kind of walking around the property, brainstorming ideas, and we came around this corner and they had this very unused, kind of weedy patch that was kind of rocky and not really utilized. And my first thought was, wow, that would be a really fantastic spot to hide some rain tanks. So we snuck these 6 420-gallon Bushman rain tanks and even got so lucky to find a matching green color that really blends in lovely with the exterior paint of the house. So the way this system works is we incorporated the existing gutter and downspout system of the house and simply redirected it. So now the gutter flows into the top of these tanks, where it can be captured and held until the dry season. The way they all work together in conjunction is by simply having a pipe at the bottom called daisy chaining and connects each tank. So all the tanks fill at the same rate, acting as one large tank working together. We've got this pressure activated pump, and this will draw water from the tanks and send it to the irrigation valves. And when the irrigation valves kick on, there's a pressure drop in the line. When the pump seizes a pressure drop, the pump will kick on, send water out to the garden. So you may wonder what happens with the water once the tanks are full and it's still raining. The water simply comes out this overflow on the far end of the tanks. And once the tanks have exceeded their maximum capacity, the water simply gravity flows out of this 3-inch pipe and flows into the swale in the front yard that we looked at earlier. So even though you've filled the tanks, you still have the ability to utilize that water on site. Thanks for following on this garden tour. I hope it inspires you to get rid of your thirsty lawn and consider using natives, drought-tolerant plants, edibles, incorporating gray water and rainwater, using local and sustainable materials. And I hope it gives you some ideas of how you can be part of solving our water crisis. Back to my book.